Hi, my name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm a Cavoodle puppy coach and breeder for Noodle Way and River City Puppies. As a coach, my philosophy is simple. A Cavoodle should always complement your lifestyle, not complicate it. And this is the foundation to everything I teach. For almost the past decade, I have been working in the breeding, training, grooming, and veterinary sectors of the small animal industry. I've also been raising Cavoodles for the past 16 years, so I have definitely learned a thing or two about the breed along the way. Now this podcast is all about Cavoodles. Raising Cavoodles, training Cavoodles, grooming Cavoodles, breeding Cavoodles, and how to shape the behaviour of a Cavoodle puppy. So, if you're a Cavoodle parent or you are looking at adding a Cavoodle to your family soon, then this podcast is for you. New episodes will be released each Tuesday morning, and you can follow me across all social media under the name @OodleWay for more tips and advice on Cavoodles. Thanks for tuning in. Hello and welcome back to the Cavoodle Coach podcast. My name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm your Cavoodle puppy coach, and today we are doing another episode in this little mini series that I'm doing where we are going through all of the basics about Cavoodles, and I'm covering your most common questions that you Google if you're thinking about getting a Cavoodle for your family. Now today's question is, are Cavoodles good with kids? And the answer to this is they are good with kids, absolutely, because they do have a really affectionate, placid, people-orientated temperament, usually. And I say usually with an asterisk, so go back to the previous 2 episodes for more information about the Cavoodle and their temperament traits. But in general, with Cavoodles and kids, they do work really well. However, there is some things to take into consideration about the Cavoodle breed. Now, Cavoodles, like I said, they're very people orientated, and they are a smaller breed dog, so they're not going to just, jump up on your child and knock them over, which is good. But because they are so people orientated, and because they are crossed with the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, whose only purpose back in the day was to sit on the laps of kings and queens in drafty castles and keep them warm, because of this, the Cavoodle can be a very clingy dog and a bit of a Velcro dog, and they can also really, really struggle to manage and regulate their emotions. And the reason why this is really important to consider when you're looking at getting a Cavoodle with kids is, depending on your children's age, we really need to make sure the children are following the right training boundaries for your Cavoodle, so that your Cavoodle learns how to manage their excitement over seeing you, learn how to manage their confidence levels when they're in public or when people come to your house, strangers, and also so that your Cavoodle can learn how to feel comfortable and confident on their own so that they don't suffer any separation anxiety. When a Cavoodle isn't trained properly, and when a Cavoodle doesn't receive the right kind of behaviour shaping when you first bring them home, you can get a Cavoodle who struggles with overexcitement, barks at your guests, jumps all over you anytime you walk in the room, a Cavoodle who can't sit still and lie down and sleep while you're in the room. You can also get a Cavoodle who has that anxiety and they become that Velcro dog, which means the second you try and leave the room, they completely freak out and stress, and they get stressed and they cannot cope. And those sort of Cavoodles become really hard to have in the home, and they definitely don't complement your lifestyle, which is what I teach with all of my training for Cavoodles. And so when we are looking at having a Cavoodle with kids, we want to make sure that your kids are able to follow your training directions so that the kids don't unintentionally reinforce any of these negative behaviors in a Cavoodle puppy. So when, for example, the first time your Cavoodle jumps on you for attention, we need your children to respond the right way, to turn around and walk away from the dog, instead of reaching down to push the dog off them. Because if they reach down and push the dog off them, your child is actually doing a play bow to the dog, which tells the dog to jump again, and so the dog will jump again. And that's one really, really simple example of miscommunication between kids and even adults with a Cavoodle. So when we look at having a Cavoodle with kids, they absolutely are going to love the children. They're going to love interaction and playing and cuddling the children, but we just need to make sure that the children are old enough to follow the training direction that you are providing to them. If your child can't understand this, it will make training your Cavoodle puppy and getting them to display the right kind of behavior in the home so much harder. So just make sure your child is able to understand this, is able to follow direction, and that you're confident that the child can actually manage a puppy who's jumping and maybe biting and barking, because every puppy is going to do those things. But the first time they do those things, we need to make sure as the family we are shaping their behaviors and guiding them on what to do instead of jumping and biting and barking. And this is really important. On another point, for context, I got my first Cavoodle when I was 8 years old. I was 8. My sister was 8 as well. We're twins. And then my younger brother was 6. And this was a really good age for my family to get a Cavoodle, because we were old enough to understand when our parents said, don't look at the puppy and give them attention when it's barking. If the puppy tries to bite, you need to stand up and you need to walk away. We were able to understand this. Whereas if you're a bit younger and you have toddlers or even babies, it's really hard to get that message across to your toddlers and your babies. And your puppy is going to be learning off the toddlers and babies no matter what. So we want to make sure that whoever is living in the household, they are able to be on the same page as the parents, so that the same training style and techniques are being said to the puppy, which will eliminate any miscommunication, which will speed up the training for the puppy, and you will be able to get through the puppy stage really quickly and easily and seamlessly with very limited naughty puppy behaviors. If you're listening to this episode and you're at that stage of wanting to get a Cavoodle puppy, or maybe you've brought one home and you're looking at doing some training with them, I really highly encourage you to look for a training program that specializes in Cavoodles and managing their behaviors and emotions, because they are not a breed who are typically very good at doing this. They need a lot of practice and they need a lot of confidence building so that they are able to remain calm and relaxed in different situations in life. And if you look into the show notes, I have a training program specifically for Cavoodles. It's actually the only training program available for Cavoodles in Australia, and it's also available across the world. Anyone can join. And it specifically looks at how to train a Cavoodle puppy to complement your lifestyle and not complicate it. And so that's a program that definitely covers how to speak to the puppy, how to guide the puppy to do the right behaviors. And it's a program that you can have your children watch and get involved in, so that they are also doing the right training for the puppy too. So that's the Cavoodle Training Academy. The link is in the show notes. I would love to welcome you inside there. Again, anyone in the world can join it. It is completely self-paced and digital. And it does also include 4 weekly group Q&A calls with me, so that when you bring your Cavoodle puppy home, each week you can ask me any questions you have at all about your puppy's behavior. So that's the Cavoodle Training Academy. The link's in the show notes. I would love to see you in there. And if you're thinking of getting a Cavoodle and you have children, they are absolutely wonderful. They are the best breed. I am such a big advocate for children to get a Cavoodle puppy. They are an amazing breed to become a very loyal, loving, affectionate best friend for your children. Just make sure your children are old enough to be able to follow the training that you are doing with your puppy, so that the training you're doing is not just being made obsolete because your children are doing the opposite thing to what you are. That's my only condition on whether or not Cavoodles are good with kids. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you again next week for another episode in this mini-series where we are going through the most common questions people ask about Cavoodles. I will see you then. This has been your Cavoodle coach, Tiana Karamayas. See you later. Bye.